from St. Paul, Minnesota. At CSG, we were encouraged to write letters to our families during the communication moratorium of the first 10 days, so we would have keepsakes from our time at CSG. So to reflect upon my time at CSG, I decided to write letters to my dad, my mom, and my 2 sisters. My dad has always been someone to push me to challenge myself, especially in science. He gave me a lot of the courage that it took to come to CSG, which I'm incredibly grateful for. Dear Dad, I've become so many things at CSG. It'll be strange to be back at home in 2 days, going back to the same routine that I had before I left. I don't know all of the ways that I'm different, but I'm sure you'll notice when I get home. There are some things that I was before CSG, which you know and are familiar with. I've always been a learner, an optimist, a scientist, a writer, an artist, a thinker, a doer, a finisher. These things have become a more integral part of me while I was at CSG, and now I identify with them even more strongly. There are also some things about me that have been irreversibly changed. At CSG, I've become an observer, a person with a growth mindset, a believer in change, an adventurer. These are things that I never embraced before coming here, and now I can't imagine going back to the way I was. I think the most drastic change is that I'm now a challenge seeker. Before coming to CSG, I wouldn't push myself towards challenges. I didn't identify as a challenge seeker, but now I do. I faced challenges at CSG, like hiking the Gold Coast. It was cold and rainy, and we still had more than 2 miles to go. I kept trudging through, one foot in front of the other, until finally I could see the choppy blue ocean behind the surface of huge rocks that lay before us. We had barely arrived when we dropped our packs, the water dripping from them. Sitting there on those rocks made it entirely worth it. I think I'm more prepared to deal with the challenges in the future, and I will continue to seek them out. Knowing that I'll go home in 2 days is strange, but knowing that I'll go home different than when I left is even stranger. Love, Greta. I learned so much about community from my mom. She worked really hard to make sure that we had different kinds of community in our lives growing up, anywhere from extended family to church suppers to neighborhood gatherings. She's helped me realize how important community is to me. Dear Mom, there are some things that are really hard for me to explain about CSG. It's hard to explain the feeling of walking into a place for the first time with 14 other girls and knowing that you'll be living with them for the next 4 months. It's hard to explain the precise smell of Gail's cooking on a Sunday morning, or how each person here has a different hug that I'm pretty sure I could identify with them by blindfolded. It's hard to explain the love I have when I'm in this group of 19. But there are also some things that are easy to explain about CSG. The feeling of belonging while I was lying under the stars at the Gold Coast, feeling completely and utterly content. The triumph of finally memorizing all of the scientific names of creatures commonly found in the salt marsh. The fears I faced standing in front of a room of people and reciting poetry, scared of judgment and mistakes. Finding the green bowl left from a green sea urchin for the first time and holding it in the palm of my hand. The realization of what I was holding dawning on me. Seeing so many mentors each day and wanting to have the same wisdom, courage, and confidence that they have. Looking up at a small cliff and just climbing without letting myself look down and somehow making it to the top. My heart pounding, my legs wobbly. The first time I called this place home after the first camping trip, feeling my face smiling and not being able to stop, wrapped in a hug, swaying, so glad to be home. My life became a series of describable and indescribable events at CSG, each making me a bit more me, while also making me a bit more of something else. I wonder what kind of events my life will be made of when I get home. I wonder how I'll continue to change. I'm so glad that you were able to come to Semester Reflections. I love you, Greta. My older sister Elsa is 18 and she left for college this year. Elsa has always been someone who I can talk to really easily about anything, whether it be what's going on at school or what's going on outside of St. Paul, the larger world. Dear Elsa, I came to CSG expecting to mostly learn about marine science, but I've learned so much more, not just about the academic subjects, but about our globe. I learned about climate change, the rising temperatures of the ocean causing endless problems caused by only a few degrees. I learned about plastic pollution. We collected over 100 pounds of plastic and other garbage from an island, finding the most perplexing items: a full can of beer, 10 feet of rope, a discarded Happy Meal toy, and wondering how they ever got to be there. I researched microplastics and counted them until my eyes were sore, but being okay with that because I was striving to learn about new things and answering unexplored questions. I learned about sense of place, the feeling of really belonging where you are and in the environment you're in. The rocky coastline simultaneously reminding me of Lake Superior at home, while also being something completely new and foreign. Through time, I began to feel the sense of place that I was cultivating, really beginning to love the shore and the ocean. I learned about these things and more and have become increasingly passionate about them. There's something that I hope that when you and I are both home this winter, we can have long conversations late at night about. Sitting on your bed until mom or dad tells us to go to sleep, like they normally do eventually. We can talk about other things too, like music, or the feelings that we've developed over fictional characters, like we normally do. Well, I can't wait to see you at home, and I can't wait to have those conversations. I love and miss you, Greta. Ingrid is my 12-year-old younger sister. We share a lot of things. We share a birthday, we share a love for Harry Potter, and a love for reading and writing, and I hope that when I go home, I can share some of the passions I've developed with her. Dear Ingrid, hopefully when I get home, I'll be a lot busier than I was last year. Don't worry, I'll still carve out the time to hang out with you, and make sure to embarrass you just a bit when you have friends over. I have a lot of new passions that I want to continue learning about and becoming active in learning and participating about. I think that I've become a challenge seeker at CSG, and because of that, I think I'm ready to face the many challenges of trying new things at home that I haven't done yet. There are so many great opportunities that I've been avoiding because I didn't want to jump into new situations, like joining clubs or hanging out with people that I don't know very well. When I go home, I want to join new communities. The community that I've found here at CSG is amazing, and I can't replace it. But I do want to learn about other forms of communities by being in them. I also want to join the environmental club at school, so I can continue to develop a passion with other people who have the same passion about the world around us and the problems that it's facing. And who knows what else I'm going to do. At this time last year, I didn't know that I would be coming to CSG, or that it even existed. Maybe I'll be doing something that we can't even imagine soon. And even further in the future, I know I can't change the whole world, or not yet anyway, but I can change a corner of the world, a nook, a cranny, a pocket. Because of these passions I've developed, I can't just sit down and wait for someone else to create change. I can begin to make the difference myself. Being at CSG has changed me for the better. Living with these amazing girls, learning from these impassioned teachers, and everything in between has showed me how I want to live my life in the future. We did a lot of improv this semester, and one of the core rules of improv is yes and. You say yes and so you are always adding new possibilities to the improv scene. At CSG, I've learned to live my life like an improv game, saying yes and to all of the new possibilities. I can't wait to see you soon. Love, Greta.